नमः सर्वेभ्यः कक्ष्यायां स्वागतं प्रार्थनया प्रारम्भं कुर्मः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणि विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा। हरिः ओम तत्सत्। अस्माभिः पुस्तके अग्रे अन्वयक्रमः इत्यस्मिन् उपभागे गन्तव्यमस्ति, पठितव्यमस्ति। ततः प्राक् किञ्चित् भिन्नं वदामः। संस्कृतव्याकरणे कथं भवति इति किञ्चित् विषयाणां ज्ञानं भवेदिति। यथा पूर्वस्मिन् वासरान्ते अपि मया किञ्चित् अन्यं पाठितमस्ति तत्र वृत्तीनां विषये, तथैव तत्र वाक्यरचनायाः विषये किञ्चित् उक्त्वा तदनन्तरम् अन्वयक्रमे पठामः इति चिन्तितं। किमर्थं तथा? यदि अस्माभिः वाक्यस्तरे कथं वाक्यम् एकं भवति, how is a sentence formed, what makes a sentence in languages, if that is understood, then only we will be able to appreciate the deeper details of why we are doing Anvaya Krama and what is that so-called funny step that we need to take, because the verses are composed as they are, and in order to get it right, at least at the basic level, in the very beginning, when we are still not able to wrap our head around the complexity of the verse, how to simplify it. You will slowly find that as your knowledge and depth in Sanskritam increases, you will not need this particular detail because it becomes innate. Okay, so what we are going to study today is this Vakya Chakram. Vakya Chakram. What is this Vakya Chakram? Basically the circle of a sentence. Okay, or the wheel, sentence wheel, we can call it. Yeah, it's a better term. So, as I have told you earlier, one of the Mahavakyas of Vyakarana is Ekating Vakyam. What makes a sentence? One Tinganta. What is a Tinganta? A verb, an active verb, let me say, an active verb. Of course, I don't mean active in the sense of active voice, passive voice. Both have verbs which are active. That verb I mean. So specifically, technically, that's why the Vyakaranis call it Tinganta, action word, purely action word. It doesn't have any other association other than with action. So it is kind of self-defining. So it sits in the center because it is the very heart of a sentence. So in this sentence, which eventual form of it I will read. Ramaha jnanaya grihe chakshusha pustakat patham patati. Rama, for the sake of knowledge, at home with his eyes from the book, the lesson he reads. Okay, so that is the Butler English. So if you see, the colorated version is also what we call Butler English, because what is this Butler English business? Basically, we do not disturb the standard sentence order as we normally set it up for Samskritam or any Indian language for that matter. And we stick to that order and phrase the English translation of each word around that, which means it will read a bit funny, but it reads fine to an Indian. So that's why we call it Butler English. Now, it is sad why it is called Butler English, because we were slaves and we were butlers. Okay. All right. Rama, for the sake of knowledge, is embedded in Jnanaya. Okay. For the sake of knowledge. And Grihe embeds at home. At is built into the Grihe form. These kind of things. Okay. So coming back to the left side pictorial, Pathati is the Kriyapada. So it has its own Prakriti, Pratyaya, etc., all those qualities, which we don't need to get into the detail. But essentially, that Prakriti and that Pratyaya, the Prakriti being the Pat Dhatu and the Pratyaya being the Ti Pratyaya, Ti Pratyaya there, as we see in the end. What it is teaching us, Pat is the action of reading, and Ti Anta is telling us somebody at the present time, a single person, a third person, not I or you, but a third person is reading. That's what is conveyed by Ti. Of course, reading comes from read part of this, but ing, somebody ing is coming from the ti. So all that is embedded there. So in more simple form, it translates as reads. Okay. And why there is no he or she? Because these kriya padas do not have any linga samya. That means they do not try to have any specific pointer to what gender is doing the action. That is not part of the verb. The gender of the reader is not embedded in the verb. Now, this is specific to Samskritam. For example, in Kannada, my mother tongue, that is not so. You can actually, in singular, include the gender in the verb, like oduttane, oduttale, tane, tale. Variations are there for the pullinga and strilinga. Okay, and so also in many other Indian languages, but Sanskritam simply stands apart in that the verbs do not have any gender reference built into them. It does have the person, or what we call Purusha in Sanskritam, that is Prathama Purusha, Madhyama Purusha, Uttama Purusha embedded in it. And it does have the Vachana embedded in it, Eka, Dvi, Bohu. But it doesn't have Linga embedded in it. Whereas Namapadas have them, and that is how they differ also to some extent, in that they have a Linga, Vachana, and Vibhakti taint. In place of Purusha taint for the verb, the Namapadas have a Vibhakti taint, which is what we are going to study today. Okay, so the verb is the central one and the nouns sit around it. So at the very primary level, the first relationship is if there is an action, who is the doer of the action? Who is the doer of the action? That we call as karta, or the suffix that we annotate to the noun, the prakriti of the noun, the stem of the noun, pratipadikam, the prakriti of the noun, the pratyaya that we annotate is influenced by what is the relationship we want to bring that noun with respect to the verb. So the relationship of Rama here with the patati action is that of a karta, that of a doer. So we add a relationship called kartrukarakatva, kartrukarakam. So the pratyaya that is added to take Rama to karta level is called kartrukarakam, and that one is a prathama ekavachana vibhakti rupa. It ends up as aha here. It ends up as aha. It has a starting form in the grammarian's world. The end form as far as Rama is concerned is Ramaha. Okay, if there were two actors, like patati, patataha is the next form, right? Dvivachana. Patataha. Then here it is Ramau or Rama Lakshmanau. So that is also taking Dvivachana. So what is happening? This is why we call it active voice. The Kriyapadas Vachana is tracking the Kartas Vachana. They're mutually tied that way. So one Rama does something, many Ramas do something. Okay, in this case, read. One Rama reads, many Ramas read. Okay, that's how the relationship variation is. So we call it as karta here, and it happens to be in prathama vibhakti because it is in active voice. In karmani, the karta will go to tritiya vibhakti. So vibhakti number is not the indicator of the karakatva. The karta, the kartrukarakam can be in prathama and will be in prathama for active voice. Rama does something. In passive voice, something is done by Rama. There, Rama goes by Rama. So it goes to Tritiya Vibhakti. You kind of know that. So don't bind Vibhakti number to the Karakatva. Depending on the active passive voice and other reasons, the Vibhaktis vary. Okay, so the Karakatva here is that of a Karta, Kartrukarakam. The Pratipadika for Karta is Kartru. Okay, Ramaha. Then Ramaha kim patati. So that's what. So patati is the Kriya. Ramaha patati. Kaha patati. The question we ask is who reads? Of course, the question is tending to be masculine here. When we don't know, we can use kaha, but answer it as Sita patati, no problem. So the original question should have been ka, but the one who is questioning doesn't know the linga of the reader. So nothing wrong when he asks kaha patati. At least he doesn't ask kim patati, because kim, which is an apumsaka karta reference, potentially, is not going to read. So kaha patati is the default, personified. So which person reads. Though it is in Pullinga, we should take that as which person reads. So Ramaha patati, it happens to match Pullinga here. Okay. Next, Ramaha kim patati. Kim here is the karma. So, kam patati, kim patati, kam patati, all these are okay. Kam patati, a pullinga reference to the object. Kim patati, a napumsakalinga reference to the object. And kam is a strilinga reference. We default in this way to kim, because usually what is read, the object, tends to be a simple thing like pustakam patati, something like that. But here it so happens the kim question is answered by a pullinga in second case, pataha, patham. Okay, so actually kam is the corresponding question there, but doesn't matter, like I told you, when we don't know. Okay, so kim is the question. So we ask what he reads. Okay, of course, in Samskritam, the question can be who he reads because of pullinga, strilinga reference, kind of. Okay, but still it's an object. So, patham patati. So, this is called karma karakatva relationship. Okay, so the word patha is related to path dhatu or pathati verb through the karma karakatva, and that in the active voice is in dvitiya vibhakti. In passive voice, this will move to prathama vibhakti. Karmani voice, it goes to prathama vibhakti. But anyway, we are looking at a kartari sentence or an active voice sentence. So, patham patati. So, like this, if we keep asking different questions, kena patati, chakshusha patati, kutra patati, grihe patati, kimartham patati, jnanaya patati, kutaha atava kasmat patati, pustakat patati, like that. So what he reads, with what he with using which instrument or using what means does he read, where does he do this reading action, for what good purpose does he do the reading, and from what source is he reading, all these can be answered using different vibhaktis. So what is really happening, there are many sub sentences. Patati is a full sentence because ekating vakyam is satisfied. Ramaha patati is another sentence. Patham patati is another sentence. Chakshusha patati is another sentence. There is no need to know about Rama to say Chakshusha patati. Grihe patati is another completely legal sentence. Jnanaya patati is a legal sentence. Pustakat patati is a legal sentence. So all of them can be present at the same time to make a more complete answer to everything instead of bits and pieces of answers. Okay, but just you cannot say Ramaha Patam and call it a sentence. No, you cannot say Ramaha Chakshusha and call it a sentence. So the centrality of the active verb is very critical to make a sentence. So here, so as you know, Suchana Vibhaktayah Karakasya Dyotakaha, indicators. Okay, Vibhaktayah, Vibhakti, Vibhaktayah. Here there are 6 vibhaktis sitting. Okay, Prathama, Dvitiya, Tritiya, Saptami, Chaturthi, and Panchami. So I will tell you why Shashti is not there. We will go to that. Vibhaktayah karakasya dyotakaha bhavanti. Kartari karmanyoho madhye bedaha syuhu. So don't associate vibhaktis with saying Prathama vibhakti is kartrukaraka. No. Kartrukaraka can be there in Prathama, can be there in Tritiya, and in some rare cases, Shashti is also used for that. We don't need to go into all that exception cases. Okay. All right. So, any questions with respect to this slide?
Mahodaya, so in this case, we can also say Kasmai Chakshusha Patham Pathati also instead of Kimartham.
You could, but Kimartam is slightly better fitting than Kasmai, because what has happened in the simple Sanskrit that we learn, Kasmai is for whose sake is the way which you understand. But you're right, Kasmai doesn't mean for whose sake. It also means for what sake. I mean, for what purpose. So yes, Kasmai is an alternate to Kimartam. Kimartam is a more popular substitute, just like Kutra instead of Kasmin is a popular substitute.
Okay.
Kutaha is a popular substitute for Kasmat. Same way, Kimartam is a popular substitute for Kasmai. Yeah.
So, isn't it supposed to be Chakshushe Dvivachana?
Yeah, possibly. With the I mean, we don't need to be very nutty about it. He may be having 3 eyes. He may be Rama, may be having more eyes. So why do you argue it is 2?
No, is this also correct? And
No,
one more
that
thing.
is also correct.
Okay, one more thing, sir. In some books I've read pustakataha, which is correct.
Tasil pratyaya. That is one that's a substitute for pustakat. For example, because there are akaranta pullinga, ikaranta pullinga, akaranta strilinga, ikaranta strilinga, and rikarantas come into picture, etc., etc., etc. There is some cheap paths. That is not appreciated by proper Sanskrit scholars. But because Samskrita Bharati is trying to bring people up quickly, any shortcut that is still proper Sanskritam grammar, they bring it into the equation very early. Okay. So this tasil pratyaya, taha. Okay. Kutaha actually uses that. Instead of kasmat, when we say kutaha, what we are doing is we are playing with the tasil pratyaya in place of panchami vibhakti pratyaya. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
It's an alternate. Similar to how kimartam artham shabda is an alternative to kasma, this thing, kasmai or whatever. This is for Chaturthi.
इत्युक्ते किम्?
Dyotaka means indicative. Dyotayati means somebody indicates, demonstrates, indicates this place. These kind of meanings come from it.
Okay, thank you.
महोदय, भवान् एकः वाक्य उक्तवान् अन्तिमे अहं न शृणोमि.
विभक्तयः कारकस्य द्योतकाः भवन्ति, कर्तरि कर्मण्योः मध्ये भेदाः स्युः. That's what I said.
No, you talked about sixth vibhakti.
Please listen to the recording, Bhagini. Any other? Okay, I think we are okay. So now, knowing that much, now what we saw earlier was a very basic sentence. Okay, little more than a basic sentence, because I have tried to use every vibhakti there, which is possible, which is a karaka vibhakti. All the vibhaktis that are so-called karaka vibhaktis I have used. All the relationships here are karaka relationships. That means the verb has a direct relationship with the noun, and it is not dependent on any other noun. Of course, for the overall meaning of the sentence, the rest of the spokes make sense. It is not as if just by saying patam patati I have satisfied you. But to say it is a legal sentence, I am saying. Okay. Now, let us look. Now, Samskritam didn't stop there. Okay, not just Samskritam, the linguistic world, I should say. We call Samskritam as the mother of that linguistic world, being the most elaborate about it. Okay, Samskritam didn't stop there. They said, hey, to make sentence with one action makes for very simplistic approach. I mean, we will be like cycling with one wheel, right? So monocycle. So if every one of us is forced to use monocycles, it will look like a very weird world, right? So they said, no, we should be allowing more power to the guy who is trying to convey something where he can bring clauses and contexts. So the clauses, okay, so this, how does Sanskritam handle that is what we are looking at here, okay? So for example, Gacchati is the Tinganta. Gacchati is the Tinganta there. That's what I have put here in the big chakra, okay? So that Gacchati has its own karaka relationship. So Duram Gacchati, far he goes. Bhitya Gacchati, with fear he goes. He or she, we don't know yet. But yeah, with fear something goes. Far it goes, like that. Okay. So, but you can have other clausal actions, but they cannot sit as Tigantas. They cannot sit as active Kriyapadas. They have to sit as what you can call subservient nominals. They are actions embedded into nouns which are subservient to the pradhana kriya, which is gacchati. They are like this sub-gears of a watch. You can kind of say. They have a contribution, but they have contribution indirectly. So they have more complex system. So for example, Harinaha, okay, a deer, jalam patum. See, what is patum? Okay, pibati, same dhatu, pibati. That dhatu in Tumunanta, we call it, in a Kridanta form, is Patum. That means, what is the meaning change now? Padato is for drinking. Patum is the in order to drink is the sense of patum. In order to drink. So that is embedded in this very simple form, patum, using the tumun pratyaya added to the dhatu. Okay. So patitum, patum, khaditum, gantum. Like this, bhoktum, in order to eat. Okay. This way we can go for all the dhatus. There is a tumunanta form which we can practice. And one fortunate thing about Tumunanta is it doesn't have further declensions. It stops there. That means it is an avyaya. A Tumunanta is a avyaya. So now, what is its relationship in the whole sentence? It is a subservient nominal action describer with a clausal condition as in order to. So in order to drink. So that has its own karma pada. What is the karma pada for this padatu here is the jalam. So this jalam is not a karma pada for gachati. Jalam is a karma pada for patum. So the deer, in order to drink water. In order to drink is patum. Water is jalam as the object of drink. So harinaha, patum, karta is common there. Okay, and jalam patum. Upakriya, we can have given the name Upakriya here, but it is actually a nominal word in this or noun word in the sentence. Okay, but it very much heavily embeds the action in a subservient manner. Okay, that is its position in the sentence. Then similarly, you can have a lyabanta, tvanta, other such clausal things are possible to stack up. So I have stacked up 3 variants. Okay. So harinaha jalam patum sarovaram prapya, having begotten the sarovara, that means having approached the lake. Simham drishtva, having seen the lion, over there is implicit. Okay, tatra can be added there. Tatra simham drishtva. Bhitya duram gacchati. With fear, afar it goes. Kutra gacchati, duram gacchati. Bhitya. Okay, it's kind of karana karaka there, but with fear sense, not as an instrument, but as a trigger for the action of going. Okay, so the bhiti is the karana, you can almost say. So this way we now have class 1, class 2, class 3. Now what has happened? Harinaha has remained as a common karta for all of them. Harinaha jalam pibati. Harinaha sarovaram prapnoti. Harinaha simham pashyati. Harinaha bhitya duram gacchati. This is actually the 4 sentences which have been claused into one single nice, neat, compact form. Every Indo-European languages, as far as I don't know other types of languages, they embed this kind of technique, though not technically so precisely as Samskritam does. Okay, in Kannada also I can say. So, ಹರಿಣಿಯು ನೀರನ್ನು ಕುಡಿಯಲು ಸರೋವರವನ್ನು ಸೇರಿ ಸಿಂಹವನ್ನು ನೋಡಿ ಭೀತಿಯಿಂದ ದೂರ ಹೋಗುತ್ತದೆ. So you can see a lot of Sanskritam even in the Kannada sentence. And the other thing about Indian language sentences, they read just like Sanskritam in the same order. So it's literally transliteration is possible almost. You don't need to know sentence grammar. You just need to know word translations precisely. That's all. Okay. So of course, not all, very few of you are from Karnataka. So let me say that in Hindi also. हरिण ने जल को पाने के लिए सरोवर को जाके, something like that, सिंह को देख के भीति से सुदूर गया, like that. Okay, और जाता है वर्तमान. Okay, so that's the technique that is deployed. Okay. Any questions?
Yes, Mahodaya. Not pertaining to this, so as you said, ekating vakyam. So can it have more than one kriya padam? For example, yada tada, if I use, I can use 2 kriya padams in that. So is
There
that
you see, I have the answer for you.
Yada gacchati tada vardhate. So how does ekating vakyam fits
Twinning
into?
sentence. There are two sentences which are twinned. We treat them as two wheels which have a common relationship.
Okay.
Like now we are coming to bicycle mode.
Yes. Okay.
Huh?
Got it. Yes.
Here this was a geared monocycle still. Okay, and
Yes.
now we are in bicycle mode. Like two wheels geared together.
Okay.
Okay. Not subservient too much. Though there is a little bit of subservience in the terms of the order of time or cause, effect, reason, etc. Okay. Any other
Okay.
question with respect to this Vakya Chakra Vyuham 1? Okay. Everyone got it. Okay. Next, literally to answer Mahodaya, there are also another way of extending the power of a sentence as a twinned double sentence. Okay. So, for example, yada, tada, when, then. Of course, this technique is there. Again, like I told you, all the Indic and European languages have this. When somebody something something, then something something something. That's all. Yada Ramaha Nagarat Vasaya Vanam Gacchati. See, this Gacchati has Vanam, Vasaya, Nagarat, Ramaha as the subservient nouns. I don't want to call it subservient, as the related nouns. Okay. And then Tada portion has Vardhate as the Kriya Pada. Okay, it's an Atmanepadi, that's why it has the Vardhate form. Shokaha, Ayodhyayam, like this, these are the subservient words. So, Rama is the Karta of Gamana Kriya and Shoka is the Karta of growth. I mean, what is growing? Shoka is growing. Okay. And where Saptami relationship? Ayodhyayam. Strilinge Saptamyam Ekavachane Ayodhya Shabdasya Rupam Asti Ayodhyayam iti. So tada. Now what is yada tada? They are literally avyaya shabdas for us. We call them as twinning aids. So they are indeclinables that do this aiding. Okay. Similarly, how when and then does in English. Okay. So picture is self-explanatory now, and I have even indicated what kind of karakatva sits there. Karma, sampradana, apadana. Class is not about karakas, but you can see them. Okay. And then vardhate has two guys. But yada tada is a twinning relationship. So this is the front wheel, back wheel, you can say. You can say.
Yada is when and tada is then, na, sir?
Correct. अरे भगिनी कोविदस्तरे तद् न प्रष्टव्यम् न भवेत् न भवेत् न भवेदेव यदा तदा when then yatra tatra where there wherever there yaha saha whomsoever that person ya sa whichever lady that lady yat tat whichever thing that thing yena tena by what by whomsoever by the same person or by whatsoever by the same thing yaya taya by which whomsoever lady by that lady only like that yaya taya. Similarly, yes, all other vibhaktis you can go. Yah shabda only is taking all kinds of vibhakti and vachana declensions there in some cases. Yada tada yatra tatra are avyayas. Okay. Of course, yatra tatra can also be replaced with vibhakti form yasmin tasmin, like that. Okay. Any questions?
Mahodaya, how can Shokaha be Karta? It is the Jananam that is the Karta.
This is the thing. See, we have this stupid fixation that a sentence requires a person to be involved. An abstract thing can do some action, right? The machine moves, the car moves. How can you question the car not as a karta there for the movement action? Karta doesn't mean some Rama, Sita, you, me. No. Karta means whatever is doing the action. Bhagini?
Yes. Ma.
Yes. Remove that mental weaknesses of associating like that. Okay. Normally, when in the normal world, the karta has become such a misused word for to mean seva karta and something like that. We think like that. No, karta simply in technical means the doer. Yeah.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ.
Huh. Okay. I think nobody else has a question, so we'll move forward. That's not also, there are a few more. There is another type of twinning possible. Vakya chakra vyuham like this. Okay. So these kind of connectors, which are intermediate connectors. So like, and also, and is a connector, right? Rama reads and writes. We don't need to again say Rama in English. So Rama reads and writes. So there is no particular attempt to say he reads first and then he writes, though the implicit meaning that may come in our listener's mind is he reads first and then he writes. Okay, because that's the order in which it has been deployed. It's a weak argument. It's not explicitly said. So actually, if you want to very explicitly indicate he reads first and then he writes, either you say like this, prapratamam patati tadanantaram likhati, something like that, or you have to say Ramaha patitva likhati. Then it's very clear, having read, he writes like that. Okay, but here there is no such complicated attempt. So Ramaha Sitam Vanam Nayati Apicha Upasthapayati. So it's very obvious. First, he has to take her to the forest, then only he can establish her there. Establishing her there means helping make a kutira, or what we call the jungle home for her. Okay, so, and for himself also. So anyway, it is Lakshmana who does all that, as we know. But anyway, Ramaha Sitam Vanam Nayati. Rama takes Sita to the forest. Now, this is a Dvikarmaka. Okay, because this ni dhatu can take two karmas. Okay, Sita is the object that is taken, and the Nayati has the Gamana Kriya, Gatyartaka dhatu. So because the Gamana Kriya is there in addition to carrying, okay, the Vana is the Gauna Karma, which is the object of destination object. Okay, so Ramaha Sitam Vanam Nayati, Apicha Upasthapayati. Now you see what is the benefit of saying Apicha? Apicha's benefit is you can now, without struggle, bring references to the related required nouns from the earlier sentence. So there is automatic borrow. Like Saha tam tatra upasthapayati is the implicit understanding. Ramaha Sitam Vane upasthapayati is the literal answer that flashes in our head. So this technique allows us to be very compact again. Anything that helps to increase the power of conveying in minimum energy, Sanskrit loves. Okay, because the Pandits have to recite for a whole day without tiring. So compactness of the language is much appreciated, as also the spoken energy levels optimization. Okay.
Even those days, writing was a lot of effort taking, right?
Okay. I'm glad you at least said that. There is this stupid belief amongst Indians that we never wrote. How can that be, Bhagini? How can somebody have a language as elaborate and beautiful as this and not write? Especially, why will they have likhati? There are people who argue that likhana, likh dhatu means to scratch, etc. But that's how they wrote. Okay? They wrote by scratching. Whatever medium, they found this Tadapatra as a great medium to scratch and carbonate and create wonderful, long-lasting, dry.
And
pieces.
we have lipi, no, sir. Without writing, we can't have lipi.
You can. People argue lipi came later, speaking came first. I don't accept that. I think very soon a human race, I mean, forget Samskritam. Language had much more aboriginal origins, right? Even we know even gorillas speak. They have their own language. So, but their language is so compact they don't need written form. Humans had to get into written form because they had to leave directions, messages, etc. Stone scrawling, painting on the caves. It started there, language writing, using symbols. Yeah.
महोदय गौण इत्युक्ते किम्?
Gauna means pradhana gauna means main and secondary type of thing. Okay, so Nayati is one Kriya Pada around which Ramaha Vanam Sitam and Apicha is the connector here. Okay, these are two avyayas working together. Then Upasthapayiti is the other Kriya and it doesn't have any direct Karaka Yukta Namapada, but it has indirect in the sense of Saha Tam Tatra, which is literally Ramaha Sitam Aranye or Vane. Any questions?
No, sir.
Mahodaya, how do we identify a Dvikarmaka Kriya?
It takes a while. Sometimes we make mistakes, so you cannot say this. The Dhatu Pata, basically, it has the tag there. There is a grammatical tag available if you go to ashtadhyayi.com and go Dhatu by Dhatu. Every Dhatu Pata sentence, at the end, there has a slight list of some properties of each Dhatu. Whether it is Dvikarmaka, Sakarmaka, Akarmaka, this kind of tagging will be there. There are three types of dhatus, okay, with respect to karma. One is whether it is possibly taking a karma pada. If it is possibly taking a karma pada, we call it Sakarmaka. Okay. If it is possible to take two karma padas, we call it Dvikarmaka. Typically, Gatyartaka dhatus in some of the cases have Dvikarmakatva. Okay.
Okay, got it. So,
but the two karma, though we use the same vibhakti for them, they still have property variation. By knowing the dhatu, we know the property variation of one karma with the other karma. Slightly more complex, like a doubled up spoke. Yeah. So here below, I tried to show where this Gauna Pradhana starts playing important role. In Kartari, both of them are in Dvitiya Vibhakti. Sitam Vanam. So we don't need to particularly struggle to, okay, who is Pradhana, who is Gauna. But when it comes to Karmani Prayoga, only the Pradhana Karma moves into Prathama Vibhakti. So Ramena Sita Vanam remains as Dvitiya. Vanam Niyate. You see the thing? Though Niyate is a Karmani form, is taken form. Here, takes is Nayati, is taken is Niyate. So by Rama, Sita is taken to the forest. Forest has not changed its property of remaining in Dvitiya, to the forest. Okay? See the beauty. So the Gauna and Pradhana identification become critical. So all you have to do in your mind is, if I say that sentence in Karmani, which karma pada should move to Prathama is very clear to you, innate to you, right? That is Pradhana karma, and the other one is Gauna karma, which remains as Dvitiya. Got it?
Astu.
What you do now, you go to ashtadhyayi.com, go through, scroll down the dhatus one by one, see who is Dvikarmaka. Takes some effort. Somebody may have collated the dhatus also somewhere if you search. List of Dvikarmaka dhatus. Somebody in this world is kind. Sanskrit people are generally kind, so they leave trails of their work somewhere. So you will be able to come up with a list. And looking at those verbs, your brain can make some sense out of why they are Dvikarmaka. Okay? So I think this is what. One more is there. Shashti Vibhakti, right? I had ignored it. So I talked about the 6 Vibhaktis that in the first chakra. Where does Shashti stand? Is it not a Karaka Vibhakti? Yes, it is not a Karaka Vibhakti. Or I should say, no, it is not a Karaka Vibhakti, according to English language. No, it is not a Karaka Vibhakti. It is called Sambandha Vibhakti. Okay? Sambandha. Some people use the term Sambandha Karaka. It's meaningless. Karaka technical term is allowed only for verb relationships. So we cannot say Sambandha Karaka. So it is Sambandha Vibhakti, you can say. A possession case. Okay? So first to fifth and seventh cases are related to verb. They are karaka vibhaktis. The sixth case is to another noun. This is a normal statement. The sixth case is very powerful in that there is one statement by Panini called She Shashti. It's actually a sutra. It is a sutra by Panini. Okay, called She Shashti. What he is literally saying there is the people seem to use sixth case for anything like that. Okay, so that in rest of the cases it is shashti, something like that he is stating. Okay, so it's a very generic observatory sutra phase which explains many anomalies otherwise which will emerge from reading Sanskrit sentences of ancient times. Okay, all right. So otherwise, it is called a possessive case or sambandha vibhakti. That means it has, for example, let us take the sentence Vishwamitraha putrau nayati. Vishwamitra, two sons he takes. Two sons is in Dvitiya vibhakti here. Putraha, putrau, putraha, putram, putrau, putran. Putrau is Dvitiya vibhakti dvivachana form contextually. It has the same form in Prathama vibhakti. Here contextually it is in Dvitiya. So Vishwamitra, everybody knows this story, right? Vishwamitra came when the two sons of Dasharatha were still very small. The two elder, not elder sons, two closely bonded sons, Rama and Lakshmana. Rama, Bharata, Lakshmana, Shatrughna was the order. Anyway, so the Rama and Lakshmana, he wants to take, I think they are hardly 10, 12, something like that. So he wants to take them away for the sake of protection of the yaga. Okay. And it is in the forest of Tataka. See, forest is not identified by which Rishi stays. Sometimes it is. It
So
is
what
being
is
identified by
Yagaha?
which Rakshasa or Rakshasi stays there. Yeah?
What is Yagaha?
What is Yaga?
Yaga.
What is Yaga?
Yagar,
Okay.
Yagar.
Yaga is
What
yagna,
is
no?
Yaga?
Yaga is Yajna. Uyuyo
Okay.
Bagini. Yajna Rakshanaya, Yaga Rakshanaya. Okay, either of them. Okay, there are so many other paryaya words for this. Okay.
Sometimes when we read too much, we forget the basic things.
Possible.
Because that man was very smart.
Huh?
No, the person who asked the doubt is very smart, actually.
No. Correct. No, I was shocked only, that's all. But now I realize what you're saying. Not everyone may be familiar with Yaga version of Yajna. They have know it largely as Yajna. In Karnataka, we know it as Yajna Yaga as paryayas from life. Not just because of Sanskrit knowledge, we know it. Yeah.
Sometimes when you read too much, also the mind goes blank.
Yes, Bhagini. I agree.
North India, they say Yagnya only, sir.
Yajna only, Bhagini.
Yaga.
Yes, right. See, so you please, I apologize to you. From South, we get shocked by sometimes this word is not known by someone in India. That's all.
They
It is
also
because
say
our
Havan.
perspective of India is sitting here in Bengaluru different from yours. Sorry.
They also call Havan.
Havan.
Havan also we call. Havan or home.
Havana is the Agnihotra. It's more a home, simple, single person activity. Yajna Yaga is the larger community type of activity.
Sir, but Yajna Yaga is more in the script. It is, it comes in the scripts. But we at normal colloquial language, we say homokundam.
Okay, no problem. Okay, so coming back to the sentence, Vishwamitraha putrau nayati. So he takes the two sons. Kutra nayati, aranyam nayati. Okay, putrau is the object. No, kasya putrau, whose sons? So those questions come. That's where Shashti Vibhakti comes. Dasharatasya putrau, Tatakayaha aranyam. So now some people think the Sanskrit words can be pushed around any which way and meaning will not change. No. Largely that is true because Vibhakti Pratyayas do have strong affinities to the verb. They can move around a bit because all the clausal requirements, like for example, if we went back here, for the sake of knowledge is all embedded in jnanaya. So when we move jnanaya around, its relationship with the verb is not disturbed. Similarly for grihe, chakshusha, etc. But when you come to places like this, okay, yeah. So here Dasharathasya is of Dasharatha. Yeah, it does embed of Dasharatha. But there are two things that can be of Dasharatha. The sons or the forest. So I can, if you displace it, I may end up reading it as Tatakayaha putrau and Dasharathasya aranyam. Dead. Gone. Okay. So you cannot sometimes those which have strong affinity to another noun. In this case, the Shashti Pada Dasharathasya has a strong affinity to Putrau, and the only way we can demonstrate that affinity is by collocation. So they have to move together. So now they are bracketed. Dasharathasya Putrau. So that's what I have shown in the picture. This Putrau is now bracketed with Dasharathasya as the possessor, and it has a special bracketed co-relationship. Similarly, Tatakayaha, which is also Shashti Ekavachana in Strilinga, okay, he is the Adhipati and Adhigata is the Aranya. So here the Adhipati is Dasharatha, Adhigata is the Putra, Putrau Dvivachane. Okay, so possessor, possessed. I have just used, this is my term, Adhipati, Adhigata to mean possessor, possessed. Okay, can use some other technical terms. All right. So the sambandha, possessor, possessed sambandha is the Shashti Vibhakti.
Sir, please, Tatokaya means, sir? Tatokaya?
Tatakaya of the Rakshasi by the name Tataka. Strilinga. Sitayaha, Tatakayaha. Akaranta Strilinga Tataka Shabdaha.
Tataka is a deity. There's no sir told, no? Like that Aranyam is known by Tatakaya, not by the sage.
That's what I was telling you. Sometimes the Gundas end up getting named as the street's name,
Yeah.
Barber Street.
Maria, so I have the same question. So if I'm reading a new scripture, like some new shloka in Mahabharata or Ramayana, and when I don't know the context, so will the same rule apply there also, that along with the Shashti Vibhakti,
Usually Kavis, what they do is inevitably they need to move it a little bit, but they try to not move it so far that the relationship is not clear.
Okay.
Okay. It is not like they will treat it as a left element, right element and bracket it like that. They can't afford to do that because the metric rules may force them sometimes to move it. But they try to not move it. Like you won't find the Putra in first pada and Dasharathasya in the fourth pada.
Okay.
Got it? Yeah, it will still belong in the same body part.
Got it.
Generally, right? They try not to move it. Inevitably, they may be forced to, then it is a poorer verse. That's how we know the quality of the verse. Okay?
Yes,
if it requires 4 pages of Vyakhya to understand something, that verse is weak, I would say. Any questions? Okay. Now, I think today, largely, we have now come out of the extra teaching. Okay, but it was an essential teaching because you can see, though we have gone through Pravesha, Parichaya, Shiksha, etc., sometimes we don't, we are not given this, what you can call as, when we look at a piece of, for example, a bhavana or something, we look at its exteriors and we end up not identifying the core structure, the basement, the pillars and the beams and all that behind that beautiful cladding. So we end up reading the cladding and think the whole language is the cladding and forget the infrastructure inside, which is the reason why that building is. And cladding is just almost irrelevant for the structural needs of the building. You can roughly say that. So that's why I went into the innards. Okay, let's come to the Shlokeshu Anvayakramaha. We have 10 minutes before we need to take the 12 o'clock break. So let me read through this. So what they say about it. Samskrita Sahitye Shlokaha Adhikaha Santi. It is dominated by verses. Samskrita Sahitya, the world of literature of Sanskritam, is dominated by verses. Ataha Shlokeshu Anvayakramaha Avashyam Gnatavyaha. Therefore, this process called Anvayakrama. Anvayakrama means setting things straight. Okay, the process of setting things straight. Okay, Avashyam Jnatavya, definitely should be learned by us. Anvayasya lekhane samanyam kramam bhavantah jananti. In the process of writing the sentence in the sentence order, in the right order, the normal process, samanyam kramam, bhavantah jananti, you all know. I mean, we have been doing this from pravesha, parichaya, etc. That's what they're saying. Parichaya patheshu, shiksha patheshu cha, Kannada bhashaya, Angla bhashaya va, pustaka. I mean, this was written in the times when it started in Kannada bhasha only. Because Samskrita Bharati was born here. Anvaya rachanakramaha pradarshitaha. So the methodology of doing the Anvaya has been demonstrated. Samprati, now, Samprati at this time, Kovida patheshu Samskritena Anvayakramam pradarshayamaha. Atra anya bhasha yaha avashyakata nasti. Samskritena eva sarala samskritena anuvadam krutva katham anvayam अन्वयवाक्यं स्थापनीयम् एवं प्रदर्शनं भवति. यत्र किंचित् विशेषः तत्र कन्नडभाषाया अपि अथवा आङ्ग्लभाषाया अपि विवरणं भविष्यति. Where extremely essential, we will also step to explain in English, they are saying. Okay, or Kannada. Now it's available in Tamil, etc. Tamil Nadu Samskrita Bharati has Tamil versions. They have their own exam periods, different. Bengaluru supports Kannada and English students. Of course, Samskrita Bharati everywhere else probably. I mean, Hindi books are also there. I think New Delhi supports the Hindi versions. And then there are...
supports Hindi version, sir.
Bagini?
Indore and Mahakaushal also supports Hindi
So there are some various Samskrita Bharati groups at various states have taken up this cause to bring it to, for example, it will be, I don't know if Telugu versions are there or people there are forced to use.
It's there. Telugu is also there.
Very good. So a lot of volunteer work has happened to extend this syllabus into other languages. Very nice. Okay. Raghuvamsham Mahakavina Kalidasena Virachitam Mahakavyam. Now they are stepping into what is the content with which they will describe the Anvayakrama. So the content is based on Raghuvamsha verses. We have seen the Katha Sankshepa of this a little bit earlier in the Katha Sahitya Kathana. Okay, but here we are going to actually now use Kalidasa's verses. Of course, we are not going to use every verse of his. Sample picks, okay, have been chosen by Samskrita Bharati so that actually using an ancient Mahakavyas verses, how we can analyze our methodology and understand the verse. Okay, and also we pick this because most people know little bit of this Dilipa's story, etc. Raghuvamsham Mahakavina Kalidasena Virichitam Mahakavyam, created by Kalidasa. Dvitiya Sarge Dilipasya Katha Asti. In the second Sarga, Sarga here being the chapter name of the Kavya, Dilipasya Katha Asti. The story of Dilipa is there. Tam Katham Svikritya, having taken up that story, Raghuvamshasya Padyanam Anvayakramam Darshayamaha. We will take the individual padyas, shlokanam, padyanam, Anvayakramam Darshayam. We will demonstrate it. Dilipaha Raghuvamshasya Chakreshwaraha. Little background. Dilipa was the Chakreshwara means the Chakravarti, or what we call as super king, king of kings. Okay?
Emperor.
Emperor. That's the correct word. Thanks, Bhagini. Raghuvamsha's emperor. Tasya Patni Sudakshina. His wife or queen was Sudakshina, Pradhana, Rani. Ragni iti Samskrite. Tayoho Santano Nasit. There was no offspring of them. Here, typically, in the Samskrita Vangmaya or Bharatiya Paddhati, Santana here means masculine offspring. Okay, that is there. So, Santanaha Nasit. And technically, it needs to be the Pradhana queen's son, potentially, not just some other. Vasishthacharyasya nirdesham anusrutya tau nandinyaha dhenvaha sevam kritavantav. Vasishthacharyasya, of the Acharya Vasishtha. Sya is the Shashti, of Acharya is the teacher, Vasishtha is the name. Nirdesham, directive. Anusrutya, having followed. Lebanta avyaya. So this is a clausal. Okay, so nirdesham anusrutya. So that is a karma under that. Tau nandinyaha dhenvaha, they too, of Nandini, of the cow. So, you know, Visheshana Visheshya Sambandha. So there is a Vibhakti track. Both are in Shashti Ekavachana. Dhenu Shabda, Shashti Ekavachana Strilinge. Nandini iti Ikaranta Strilinga Shabda, Nandinyaha iti. Okay. Mati Matyaha. Mati no, Nadi Shabdavat iti manye. Nadyaha. That is better. Sevam kritavantav. Seva strilinga pada, karma pada, sevam iti dvitiyayam kritavantav. So here kridanta. Okay, again, like I said, what is the tinganta here? Kritavantav staha, astam, something like that. Past tense possibly. Okay, no need to say it. Sa eva kathabhagaha atra svikritah. That very story portion has been received here for teaching, learning. Okay, we will step into the first verse. अत प्रजानामधिपः प्रभाते जाया प्रतिग्राहितगन्धमाल्यां वनाय पीतप्रतिबद्धवत्सां यशोधनो धेनुर्वृषेर्मुमोच. अथ प्रजानामधिपः प्रभाते जाया प्रतिग्राहितगन्धमाल्यां वनाय पीतप्रतिबद्धवत्सां यशोधनो धेनुं ऋषेर्मुमोच. Can break the sandhis now. Atha is typically used to means and then. It is what we call Sangati pada here. This verse is now being connected to the previous statement saying Atha, after that, afterwards, that sense of meaning. So many great Sutra Grantha also starts with Atha. Right? Okay, many great meanings are taken from that, but it simply means after that, or now, from now, like that. That's also the meaning. Prajanam adhipaha. So this is simple samyoga. There is no sandhi. Prajanam, of the people. Praja shabda. Okay, and shashti bahuvachana. So prajanam adhipaha, the leader, which is Dileepaha. In the context, it is Dileepaha. Prabhate, in the morning, Saptami Ekavachana. Okay. Prabha means the first light. I mean, basically, it's used in the sense of morning, right? So, Prabhate. See, this is the only language where every letter has a contributory role. Okay. Jaya Pratigrahita Gandhamalyam. How many Pratipadikas are there? Jaya, Prati, Grahita, Gandha, Malyam. So there are so many components. So what is this? Jaya, wife. Prati, towards sense. Grahita, holding, held. Gandha, good smelling. Mala, the garland. Malyam, she who is carrying the garland. So Jaya ya pratigrahita gandhamala asita malyam iti. Malya ityapi rupam syat tatra. The karma pada. The whole thing is karma pada. So okay. Here it is actually bahuvrihi applying to the dhenu itself. The one who has been offered a good smelling garland by the wife of course, Dileepa, which is Sudakshina. So the cow which has been decorated with a good smelling garland by the wife of Dileepa, Jaya. How much is there? This is called Bahuvrihi Samasa in this case because it is indicating the cow. Neither it is indicating the queen or anything else. It is indicating the cow. So it is Bahuvrihi Samasa.
Shamita Mahoday, Grahit ityukti kim?
Grahita. is decorated, I mean, put upon,
Us.
made to hold, like that.
Isn't it given?
Given.
Grahanam is to take or to hold.
It's
Offer.
made to hold, made to take upon. I mean, she has bestowed the garland on the cow. Okay,
That is
fine.
offered.
Don't worry about the exact English word.
Grahana is
Pratigrahana means
receiving,
to
no?
hold hands also. Grahana doesn't mean always eclipse. Pratigrahana means to hold a hand, right? That's also there.
To receive, I think.
Bestowed is the word.
To
Okay.
accept.
One who has been bestowed with the good smelling garland, that cow, as a karmapada. Okay. So that cow, finally, simple translation, the cow as a object. Vanaya, for the sake of forest. Pita pratibadda vatsam, another bahuvrihi for the dhenu. Another bahuvrihi for the cow. What kind of cow? The cow whose son, Vatsa, whose son has drunk from her and has been tied so that he doesn't roam around unnecessarily into the forest. That kind of cow, the cow whose son has been made to drink from her amply and has been duly tied so that he is secure. That kind of cow. This kind of language is there only in Samskritam. This Bahuvrihi Samasa is very interesting. Okay.
Sir,
You
excuse
want-
me, sir. What is that? You said Bahu.
Bahuvrihi. Bahuvrihi. Bahuvrihi Samasah.
Okay, Bahuvrihi
Bahuvrihi Samasah. Bahuvrihi Samasah.
Dhanyawad.
Yashodhanaha. Yashodhano is the Utva of the Visarga. Yashodhanaha, because Dhakara is a Mrudu Vyanjana. So Aha is there, so it can become O. So Yashodhano. Okay, Yashodhanaha. Okay, Yashaha eva dhanam yasya saha. This is again another Bahuvrihi. Fame itself is the richness of whomsoever that fellow. Who is it? Again, Dilipa. So Dilipa is being described here as one whose richness was his fame itself, not anything literally like gold or silver. Okay, Yashodhanaha. Dhenum Rishehe. So there is a simple samyoga here. Dhenum. So this is the actual target of Jaya Pratigrahita Gandhamalyam and also the target of Pita Pratibadda Vatsam Dhenum. And
Once again, can you explain Preeta Pratibadavatsam?
Pita Pratibadda Vatsam. Pita, having drunk. Okay. Pratibadda, having been duly tied. Vatsa, the offspring, masculine. Vatsam, that one who has such a baby cow is the mother cow. Okay.
Okay.
Pitaha pratibaddaha cha vatsaha yasyaha sa pita pratibadda vatsa iti denoho visheshanam. Bahuvrihi visheshanam. Unfortunately, there is this power is literally absent in all other languages. This power of other type of samasta padas you kind of find. Shashti, Tatpurusha and all are quite popular. Because of course we borrow from Samskritam, we have them, Maharaja, etc. words like that. But this, you will not bring these kind of words into Kannada for literally, I mean, I cannot make a single word in Kannada with this kind of complexity. I literally have to break it into its component sentence. I have to literally say, like in English, I say, the cow whose son had been made to drink milk and been tied up properly. Okay. And when I say like that, because the samskara of what is mean by tying up properly? What do you mean? Are you doing animal torture? No, no, no. If you don't tie up the baby, you are doing animal torture because it will go and die in the forest.
Vatsam, isn't it Dvitiya of a female?
It is Dvitiya because Dhenum is in Dvitiya.
Okay.
The first form of it is
Vatsam
Vatsa,
Dhenu.
is Ekavachana, Vatsa, Pratama Vibhakti.
Vatsam
Then
is the Vatsam is a calf, isn't it?
Calf. Vatsa is calf.
Yeah,
But here the
of
total
the
effect
calf.
is not calf. The total effect is the mother. That's what I'm struggling to tell you. This concept is there only in Samskritam. Okay. For example, you take Yashodhanaha. Okay, let us not worry about Pita Pratibaddha Vatsa. It is very difficult to break down. Let us just take Yashodhana, which is also a Bahuvrihi. Okay. Yashaha eva dhanam yasya saha. Fame indeed is the richness of whomsoever. That in Sanskritam is one word called Yashodhanaha. Dhanam is Napumsaka Shabda. But now because it's associated with the Pullinga Dilipa, it has become Yashodhanaha. Okay, got it, sir?
Mahodaya,
Oh.
Yashodhanam is a samasa.
Yeah.
It is usually between two pradipadikams, right? Yashaha and
Correct.
Dhanam.
There are
So
two
he-
Yasha Pratipadika and Dhana Pratipadika.
So why Yashodhanam is come?
Yashodhanam is not, Yashodhanaha is there, no? Why are you saying Yashodhanam?
No, Yashodhanam, because it should be Yashadhana, right? Why is Yasho?
There are rules.
Oh,
There are rules actually. Yeah,
okay,
Yashas is the Pratipadika. Like
Yashas,
Bhagini
Alanta.
said, Yasha, I just conveniently simplified it. Yashas is the Pratipadika.
Yes,
And
I
that
got it.
Sakaranta usually generates Visarga in the normal flow. In this Sandhi flow, which is essential for this Samastapada, Sandhi is Nitya, they are forced to do the Utva. Similar to how Dano Naha became no, actually is Danas, Danaha, Dano, like that, similar to that here.
Yeah, understood, Mahodaya.
Amita, this Yasho, is it related to Yashas? Yashas is related to Yashaswini, yeah? Success.
Yashaswini is with a pratyaya. Same Yasha Shabda with a Swini pratyaya. That's one a lady who is successful is Yashaswini. Word Yasha is success. That's all.
Yeah, okay.
Success or fame, you can say.
Right.
Okay, so let us continue. Denum Rishehe Mumocha. See, Rishehe is sitting next to Denum. The sage's son, Rishi is sage. The sage's Rishehe, Shashti Ekavachana for Rishi Shabda. So Rishehe Dhenum is there. Sambandha is there right next to it. Mumocha, he released her. So what is the essential meaning of this entire sentence? Dilipa released the cow to the forest for the sake of forest. That means for grazing. Vanaya is in the sense of for grazing. So Dilipa released the cow for grazing. That's all is the sentence. Now rest is color. What is the color? What kind of cow? What kind of Dilipa is the color here? And at what time, etc., which is not color, which is other information. Prabhate, in the morning. Okay, but how much is there in this samasta? See, Jaya, Pratigrahita, Gandhamalyam. Kavi doesn't need to put another verse saying Sudakshina went, she had a Gandhamala in her hand, she went and did puja of Dhenu, then she put the Gandhamala, etc. Everything has been achieved with one word by the Kavi. So the Visheshanas is not there just to do stuti, just to do praise. It is there to describe what all happened. Similarly, Pita Pratibaddha Vatsam Visheshana to Dhenum is there to again explain that the process of letting the baby cow drink from her and then properly ensuring his security has been done. That kind of cow. That means not a cow which has been denied the pleasure of feeding her son. Okay, so
Dhenu Rushehe. You said they are like Shashti, of course. Shashti.
Rishehe is Shashti and Dhenum is the Sambandita pada. I mean, possessed word is Dhenum.
Astu. Kintu in Shashti should the I mean the Visheshaka, I mean I don't know how to put it. The possessor, the Adhipati and the Adhigata, is there some order that they?
No. I told you they need to be in close proximity. On Mahodaya asked in verses, complex verses is there, will they actually make sure that the possessed word is left, possessed word is to the right and possessor is to the left like we normally write, Dasharathasya putrao. No, like you can see the immediate example. He is not, he has not put Rishehe first and then Denum. He has put Denum, Rishehe. That is the color. because the vritti was correct. The meter fit correctly for him that way. But he didn't take Rishehe somewhere in the beginning.
Astu.
So Kalidasa, one of the greatest artists of Sanskrit padyas. Okay. Atha prajanamadipaha prabhate jaya pratigrahita gandhamalyam vanaya pita pratibaddavatsam yashodhano dhenum risher mumocha. Now, see, when we do a third or fourth reading after understanding, these words talk to us. Okay? So now you guys go through all this word break. I don't need, almost literally we have done it. So the prose order is the focus. Now what we will do, I cannot go on and on. We will give a break, already 10 minutes past 12 o'clock. Let us start at 12:14, okay, and continue this.
Sir, one question, please. Sir.
Okay, welcome back. So now let us look at the Anvaya. It's kind of apparent to us. Basically, what we have to do, we have to take the Karta apart. And if the Karta's name is not directly present, you have to take the closest Visheshana that fits him. So, for example, Adhipaha is the closest that fits because there is no direct reference to Dilipa there. So, Karta is Adhipaha. Okay. And Adipaha has a Shashti Pada called Prajanam Adipaha, the ruler of people. Okay, all right. So that literally has been there, left-right relationship has been maintained. And Atha is the Sangati word. So that has to start off saying, and then that kind of translation afterwards, and then. So Karta is also, this is almost sitting where we need it. Okay, Prajanam Adipaha, like that. Okay, this Prabhate is the time element. You have little freedom to keep it somewhere. I mean, you should not put it too far. You cannot start with Prabhate, Atha like that, but you can put it somewhere, okay, conveniently, as you would do in your mother tongue in the morning like that, okay. Here they have put Prabhate before even Adipaha. And then what they have done, Prajanam Adipaha, and then Yashodhanaha has been also added because that's another Visheshana to the same Prajanam Adipaha. In bracket here, what you could do here is, in bracket after this Adipaha, you can put Dilipaha. It will be nice, okay, to identify the actual target, which is Dilipa. So, Atha Prabhate Yashodhanaha Prajanam Adipaha Dilipaha, comma, mentally. Okay, then Visheshanas of the Dhenu. Okay, so Dhenu is sitting here all the way. Next is the Karma Pada. So Dhenum is the Karma Pada. Fine. Whose Dhenu? There is a Shashti word related to Dhenu. So we have to place that close to Dhenu Shabda. So Rishehe Dhenu. Like, Kavi also did pretty close. So Rishehe Dhenu. Then you stack behind that the two Visheshanas for the Dhenu. Two Bahuvrihi Visheshanas. One Visheshana is Jaya Pratigrahita Gandhamalyam Dhenum Athavana Apicha Pita Pratibadda Vatsam Dhenum Rishehe Dhenum Vanaya Mumocha. Vanaya, for the forest, for grazing. The meaning from Vanaya, the meaning we have to take is to graze in the forest. Okay. So, because going to the forest is her daily activity, so that she gets Paustika Ahara. Like that. All right. We have a nice picture by some artists. So, this is Vatsaha. So, Vatsaha Pibati. Okay. Pita Pratibadda Vatsa Dhenu. So Pratipadartha, you guys look. Here one admittance has been given here by them. English being a foreign language, it is not possible to maintain the prose order of Samskrita shloka while giving word-to-word meaning. Therefore, prose order given is given separately and word-to-word meaning is according to English syntax. Now, I would like to suggest something. Trying to reorder the Sanskrit word to help an English sentence is a futile exercise. Don't do that. You follow my directive saying you put the same prose order and put English phrases. So you can always put atha bracket therefore and then afterwards, something like that. Prabhate, at the in the morning time. Then Yashodanaha, one whose one whose fame itself was his richness. Prajanam Adipaha, in bracket, the leader of the people, and then Dilipaha in bracket, overall. Like this you go. Then for this whole thing you can put one small phrase around it, which is what they have done. But trying to reorder the Sanskrit words to suit English is a futile exercise. You go butler. For each of these words, whatever is the corresponding phrase of the English, you put it. Don't worry too much. It is sounding grammatically perfect in English. It doesn't matter. If you and I understand, that is English for us. Okay. Here what they have done, they have shifted the Sanskrit words to suit that. If you separate the English words, it will kind of make a decent sentence. Afterwards, at the daybreak, the Lord of the people who was rich in glory, and so on and so forth. So Mumocha, who will put Mumocha in the middle there? You will have no way to think of all that in the exams or anything. So don't do. Just if you need to give English meaning, stick to the Sanskrit order and give Butler's sentence pieces. If you need to, sometimes if 2 words of Sanskrit has to make a phrase, you don't do that. Don't try to struggle for each word. Like, for example, Rishehe Denum, the sage's cow, like that. Okay.
So Mahodaya, is there any standard order in the Sanskrit for the Anvaya Krama?
There is one basic rule. We call it Karta Karma Kriya. Okay. Generally, for active voice, we go like that. Karta Karma Kriya. Like that. So the doer, then the karma pada, which is the, you can roughly call it the object, and then the action word. Typically, the action word is trailing, and the doer is leading, typically. And karma pada is somewhere close there to the action word. And then the other vibhaktis fit in between suitably. But Shashti Vibhakti, 6th cases have to accompany the words that they possess, like Rishehe Denum, like that.
Okay, Dhanyavada.
This much. See, so there is not just the answer, Anvaya prose order, there is not just one answer. For example, if you put Prajanam Adipaha in the beginning and Yashodhanaha afterwards, not a problem. You have just chosen to use Yashodhana as the more accented reference. That's all. And if you put Prabhate somewhere else, there is no harm. Okay? Because there is no confusion of its relationship with Mumocha. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
This is lit Mumocha. Mochitavan.
Yeah, this seems to be very common. This seems to be common. You know, in Hindi, it's like that. You put the time first, and then everything else comes after the time. It's like you have the subject, but then the time comes, and then
you can use the time. I mean, here it is now more than location; it is temporal. You're right. You can kind of throw it in the beginning, similar to how you do it at the daybreak or something like that in English. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But few things are sanct. That is, the sanctness is the Visheshana Visheshya closeness and Shashti Vibhakti and its possessed closeness.
Okay.
And Mr. Krishna Kirti Das, nice. You have a nice Indian name, but you seem to be from elsewhere. From which country you are, sir?
Yes. Aham America Deshataha, Kintu Aham Delhi Nagare Vasami.
Adbhutam Varya. It's please, guys.
Mama nama Krishna Kirti Dasa.
Bahu santoshena.
Krishna Kirti Dasa Guru Datta Nama Asti.
Guru Datta Nama Asti. Iskan Samstha.
Iskan Samstha.
Adbhutam Varya. Sushtu. Samyak evam Samskrita Vangmaye atra Kovida Paryantam Patitva Agatosti iti Adbhutam. Shlaganiyam asti. Astu. So then Tatparyam. Usually, we read the Samskrita Bharati's Tatparya to learn how we ourselves can create similar forms like this. In simple Sanskrit, they have split this one sentence of Kalidasa into 4 or 5 contextual sentences. See, this this Jaya Pratigrahita Gandhamalya deserves a whole paragraph in why just a sentence. So that's what kind of thing they have done. You see here. Vasishtaha Nandini Dhenoho Sevam Kartum Sudakshina Dilipau Uktavan. Now, what is this sentence? There is no such description in the verse. But most of us know the storyline from our earlier lessons. So we know that the one of the directives of Vasishta when Dilipa and Sudakshina come is when they come saying, "Ayyo, we don't have son. How do we have progeny? Our nation requires the great prince, etc., etc." So Vasishta closes his eyes, thinks what may be the reason, finds that he has done certain stupid things in his life for which there is he has to suffer, but there is a moksha path, mukti path for him from that whatever thing he did which had bad karma. So all that is there in the original story. If you are interested, the story goes like this, the once upon a time he had been called to the Swargaloka for fighting and helping Indras in fighting Rakshasas, etc. Having done the duty, he was returning alone, but he was already thinking ahead that he will meet Sudakshina again, how they need to carry forward, how they need to have a progeny. All these thoughts are already clouding his mind. So in this clouded mind, he totally ignores that there is Kamadhenu nearby. Kamadhenu is there nearby. She's grazing on the path. And Dilipa has done the sin of ignoring her. He should have technically gone, done upachara, namaskara, etc. and praised her and talked to her and moved on. Obtained her ashirvada and moved on, which he fails to do. So there is a reason for everything. Kamadhenu notices that he is not noticing and becomes angry, and she curses him, saying, because now you are thinking of your wife and progeny and going and ignoring me, you will have sufferance in obtaining a progeny, something like that. Okay. And like that. But he moves on and he doesn't know this happened at all, poor chap. And so Vasishta is able to see this and he explains, so this is the thing, but you have to go now and apologize to her, do her seva, but she is in Patala Loka, so you can't go do her seva now. There's no access for you. No problem. Her own daughter, her very own daughter Nandini is my Dhenu. She is very much here. You do seva of Nandini for so many days and you will be excused and you will have proper progeny from this seva karya, etc. So that's what is this. Vasishtaha Nandini Denoho Sevam Kartum Sudakshina Dilipau Uktavan. Karma pada Dviya Vibhakti. Okay. Tataha, after that, Pratah Kale Prabhate Patni Jaya Sudakshina, actual name, Nandinim Gandhena Pushpaihi cha. So Gandhamalyam is not Gandhamala, it is Gandhaihi cha Malaya cha, like that. Okay, Gandhena Pushpaihi cha. Apujayat. She did the puja with flowers and sandal paste, etc. Nandinyaha Vatsaha Kshiram cha apibat. So Nandini's son also drank milk. Tam Vatsam Bhadva, having tied that calf. Okay. Raja Dilipaha Dhenum Charanartam. See, Charana, Dhatu we have forgotten. Charana we take it in the sense of movement because see, another Gatyartaka Dhatu, Charati, but it literally means grazes. Means it is that eating grass and moving along. Okay. So Charanartham for the act of grazing, Aranyaya for the sake of forest. I mean, so one they use artham suffix, another use this actual vibhakti suffix. Okay. Chaturthi vibhakti suffix, vimuktavan. This Chaturthi is the invoked by the vimochana kriya, mochana kriya. So it is Chaturthi due to that relationship. For the sake of forest, he released there in the sense that for grazing sense only comes from that. Okay. Atha प्रजानामधिपः प्रभाते जाया प्रतिग्राहित गन्धमाल्यां वनाय पीतप्रतिबद्धवत्सां यशोधनो धेनुं ऋषेर्मुमोच. It is very difficult to read a verse in flat voice, so I apologize if sometimes I'm singing stupidly, but this is the best I can do. Okay, so they have next given the next act. This is called the Akanksha Paddhati. Very important for us, this Akanksha Paddhati. What is this Akanksha Paddhati? You go back here. See, I have the Akanksha Paddhati stack here. Okay. We elicit an answer to questions to extract the pieces of the sentence. Because the sentence is coming from anticipatory questions about what, why, etc. like that. So, what action? Pathati. Who does that action? Ramaha. Kim patati? What object does he read? Patham. Kena. With what? Chakshusha. Okay. Lame. This sentence is a little lame, right? It's okay. Everybody reads with the eyes only, but maybe there are modern days, there are other listening and reading is also possible. So, kutra or kasmin grihe, okay, kumartam, like this akanksha. What further information is there? Question, and that answer for that will stack the sentence. So this is called the pyramid or the triangles that we build up for the sentence. Okay, so that's what is this. See here. Okay, so atha, first that sangati pada. Sangati means relationship. Okay, sangati means going together, relationship. Sangati pada has been thrown in first. Anantaram, mentally avyayam, like that. Mumocha kriya padam. Okay, vimuktavan kriya padam. So that is the central hub. So gacchati, like that we have, no, same way here mumocha. Okay, kaha mumocha, who released? Adhipaha kartrupadam. Okay, kasam adipaha, here they have moderated the question to strilinga kasam because praja shabda is strilinga shabda, so prajana. So kasya adipaha is also legal question when you don't know, or kasya kayoho kesham. Kesham also can be used, nothing wrong. But since we know the answer, we can modulate back the question to be grammatically accurate, kasam, if you know. But if you write kasyam, I don't have a problem with it as an evaluator. Okay. If you write kesham, that is even better. Okay. Kasya or kesham. Okay. Prajanam is the answer. Punaha kidrishaha, visheshana has to be extracted. Yashodanaha has been extracted. Again, what type of adhipa? Yashodana. Here somewhere you can put in bracket Dilipaha. Kam mumocha, dhenum mumocha, karmapada has been extracted, pradhana karma. Then kasya dhenum, shashti sambandha, rishehe dhenum, so whose dhenu? And this question continues to be in dvitiya here. Kasya dhenum mumocha, everywhere mumocha has to be understood. Kam mumocha, here they have split. Here they didn't bother because mumocha is sitting there, but technically the full question is kasya dhenum mumocha. Okay, rishehe. Answer again is only a small segment here. Technically again, rishehe dhenum mumocha is the expanded answer. But you don't need to write that. You just focus on that single answer word. Kidrishim dhenum. What type of dhenum? See, kidrishaha is pullinga for adipaha. Dhenum is strilinga. So kidrishim. Okay, because it's in dvitiya, the question also is in dvitiya. Kidrishim dhenum. What type of dhenu as object? Pita pratibaddhavatsam. You don't need to do any breakup now. At this point, it is still one word. Punaha kidrishim jaya pratigrahita gandhamalyam. Kasmai mumocha. Okay. So, vanaya. So, kasmai, for whose sake, vanam shabda. So, vanam gantum. See, here they have given explanatory meaning a little bit here. Okay. Kada mumocha, prabhate mumocha. So, the kada could be asked earlier also, no problem. I mean, it can fit somewhere. This is, you won't write this order in sentence. This is just the question order, answer order, that's all. But technically, you can still make meaning. Anantaram, Adipaha, Praja. So actually, you all go reverse reading. Reading reverse is better after this unstacking. Prabhate, Vanaya, Jajapatigrahita Gandamalyam, Pita Pratibadda Vatsam, Rishehe Denum, Yashodana, Prajanam Yashodanaha, Adipaha, Vimuktavan, or Mumocha. Like that. You can stack like this. Okay. So roughly, you are going in the verb towards left. Not exactly like, for example, Adipa has been extracted earlier. The Karta is sitting close to the Kriya. That's usually the order. First question is who is the doer? Next question is what is the object? Next question is what type of doer? Whose action? Who's that thing like that? What type of karma pada? What type of karma pada? Etc. Good. Now, here the book has not done, but this is expected at this level. At Kovida level, you are supposed to now be able to identify the grammatical properties of the words. Okay? So, atha, avyayam, mumocha, prathama purusha, ekavachana, much, kartari, prayoge, parasmai, lit lakare. I mean, if you don't do all that, that is fine, but at least you should be able to say lit. Okay, lit lakara 1.1 is minimum information. Okay, lit is paroksha bhutakala. Paroksha means away from the eyes. Because Kalidasa has not actually seen, but he is hearsay, he knows that he released the cow, so he is mumocha. Valmiki also in Ramayana uses lit a lot. He's a lit priya. The Kavis are generally lit lakara priyas. Lung and all is left for us simpletons. Okay, adhipaha. So, अकारांत पुल्लिंग शब्दः कर्ता प्रथमा विभक्ति एकवचने प्रजानां षष्ठी बहुवचने आकारांत स्त्रीलिंग पदम कर्तृ संबंधः ओके कर्तुः संबंधः अस्ति अस्मिन् अर्थात् प्रजानाम् अधिपः इति I mean this little bit extra no need यशोदनः Again, Prathama Vibhakti Ekavachane Akaranta Pullinga Shabdaha Yashodhana Shabdaha Kartru Visheshanam Kartuhu Visheshanam Asti. Artat Adipaha Atava Dilipaha Ityasya Visheshanam Etat. Yashaha Eva Dhanam Yasya Saha Yashodhanaha Bahuvrihi. Birdat Vri I should write. Bhavri is not a Sanskrit word. Birdat Vri. Okay. So this kind of knowledge like this you need to be able to reach. In the beginning, yes, it will take, because you're still learning samasa, etc., taddita, we won't get all there. But this is the level to which you should be ready. Okay. Again, I won't tire you with reading everything. Okay. If you want this portion, I can share it in the group so that you know what's happening. This ability we should develop. Again, it's okay if you have minimum, at least the Vibhakti, Vachana knowledge and Linga knowledge, that's also fine. If you know more, you can write more. Yeah. But no, Samastapada expansion. There is a general expectation for 5 marks that we should be able to do this. So Kovida exam, 3 hours starts becoming tight. In Pravesha, I could have answered the question paper 3 times in 3 hours. But in Kovida, I'm struggling. Okay. Because what happens, we usually keep this Anvaya Krama, etc. for the last because it is time consuming and it is elaborate to answer. For 5 marks, it seems like, let me focus on Samasa expansion, Sandhi, these kind of things you will say. You'll finish all those ticky stuff and then come to this big stuff. So by then you're running out of time and you're doing poorly. So that's why time management becomes critical. 3 hours is not enough for a Kovida exam. It is tight. It expects time competency also.
We need 4 hours, sir.
So you have to learn to do it in 3 by not kind of wasting the time in over elaborating somewhere. Okay, that's the important thing. Don't admire your answers. Move on. Okay. All right. So now some special readings are there. So let me read this off quickly and then we'll close out the morning session. Vishesha. Now they are explaining about what they have done here. Word order in general was taught in the Shiksha lessons. In the following lessons of this Kovida level, word ending, gender, case ending, and number means the vachana, the singularity, plurality aspect of the words in stanzas are also taught. Okay, stanza here is the reference to the verse. Ending, antaha, the letter which comes at the end of a word base or pratipadika is the word's ending. For example, Rama, Ram, akarantaha, ending is in a. Rama, ram, akarantaha, ending in a. Hari, har, I. So, ikarantaha, ending in E, etc. Some examples they have shown. Nothing you guys are not familiar with. Gender, lingam. So gender of a word is indicated by masculine, feminine, and neutral. Pum, stri, napum is the standard shortcut. See, pum, stri, napum. Somewhere napum here, like this we indicate. Okay, all right. And if the word has the same form in all three genders, it is indicated as Trilingaka. We encounter it very rarely, such words. Typically, you will find, for example, words like Dasha are Trilingakas. Sapta, Nava, Dasha, they are Trilingakas. They have only one form. Case ending is not an Avyaya, it is Trilingaka. That is the difference. There is a subtle difference between Avyaya and Trilingaka. Dasha still has declensions, but has only one common declensions for all three lingas. And it is always also having Bahuvachana declensions because it's a Bahuvachana Shabda. Okay. Case ending, Vibhakti. As we know, there are 7 case endings. They are indicated as nominal, etc. Forget this. I am not going to use English anyway. We will use 1.1. Things like this are appreciated by all of Samskrita Bharati. This is enough. If you want to waste time, you can write Prathama, Vibhakti, Ekavachanam and all that. If you can do it fast. But 1.1, I will give marks as an evaluator. Most guys I know in Samskrita Bharati understand this codification. So what is this double number codification? For a verb, it is Purusha and Vachana. For a Kriyapada, it is Purusha and Vachana. For a Namapada, here. So 1.1 here is for Kriyapada. Here 1.1 is for the Namapada. So here it is Vibhakti and Vachana. Vibhakti dot Vachana. Here it is Purusha dot Vachana. And Linga is separated out by saying Pum, etc. There is no such Pum, Gim thing for Kriyapadas. If you know, you can put more things for Kriyapada like Kartari, Parasmai. No need. You don't need to know the Dhatu form also. That is also fine. Lit is the most important thing to represent this. And 1.1 lit is the basic information there. Similarly here, 1.1 Pum, Akaranta and all is understood almost. Karta. You can indicate the type. Because you know Kartari, you can say 1.1 is Karta here. In a Karmani, it would have been 3.1. Adipena, like that. Oh, so that's what they are saying on this. So as we know, there are 7 case endings. Don't worry about the English titles. It's of no practical use for learning Samskrita. But if you are coming from the English world, like Mahodaya Krishnadas Varya here is like that, for him this makes sense. He understands nominative, accusative, instrumental, dative, ablative, genitive, locative, vocative. Vocative is
not really. We don't we don't use these even in English grammar classes.
It's so much. Sad, no sir. They don't teach us basic grammar when they should be teaching
us. Yes, sir.
Us.
They don't teach us in English also these things.
Sad. It is sad.
We don't know. I never heard what was a dative or an ablative case until I came to Samskrita Bharati. Seriously. Or locative. This just is
actually dative is the Latin word dare. The verb is dare. Dare means to give. So dative means in the sense of giving, like that.
I just learned that just now. I never heard that before.
Yeah. Ablation is separation. So source, these kind of things. Okay. Anyway, forget sir. Number Vachanam. The 3 numbers are indicated as, this is one problem with Sanskritam, it has Dvivachanam. And it is very justified because Sanskritam identifies and gives prominence to duality like no other language. So Pati Patni Sambandha, Guru Shishya Sambandha, Bhratarau, these things are very critical in Sanskritam, the twinning of things. Okay. So mother, daughter, this kind of things. That's why Dvivachana is so dominant. Okay. The three numbers are indicated as singular, dual, and plural. If a word has an invariable number, that means indeclinable, basically. If it is not declined, what is declension? So there are two key English words, declension and conjugation, you have to remember. Declension means vibhakti pratyaya, adding vibhakti pratyaya. Conjugation means adding ting pratyayas to kriya padas. So conjugation is for table of verbs forms, and declension is for table of noun forms. Okay, just remember that much. In any other number except that given. Okay, so invariable. It is indicated by the word nityam, nityam bahuvachanam, like dasha shabda is a nitya bahuvachana, just to indicate. Sometimes you don't need to go this far. If you just indicate the number, you are in business. Okay, this dot. Yeah. Verbs, kriya padani. How do you indicate avyaya is the question that comes, like atha. I use 0.0. Okay, 0.0 for avyayas is the best way to indicate. That means it is indeclinable. But if you write avyayam, that is also fine. No need to show 0.0 and all that. But since I do the coloration as a superfix after the word, for avyayas, I would put a 0 or a 0.0 on top to indicate it's an avyaya. Okay. Verbs, kriya padani, the root, the dhatu, the time being the tense. Okay. Past, present, future, and the mood or the mood. Okay. And the mood, no? Or the mood, imperative, directive, etc. Command. And the sense of the causal form of a verb are indicated. What is the sense of the causal form? Is it lyabanta? Is it tanta? These kind of things. I mean, because these are for the subservient verbs. Okay, not for the pradhana kriya. Subservient verb. So causal form is already a noun technically, but we still recognize it's strongly a subservient kriya rather than a noun. So yeah. Parasmaipada, Atmanepada, that is the type of dhatu, whether it is Parasmaipadi, Atmanepadi, or Ubhayapadi. This is not going to be easy for you guys. Very few of them we will know the correct padi to which they belong. So yeah, okay. Is denoted respectively as Parasmai, Atmane, Ubhayapadi. I would write this in Samskritam. Okay. Subsequently, the person and the number are also mentioned. Okay, that's what this dot. N dot N notation, M dot N notation, Purusha dot Vachana, P dot V notation for Kriyapada, and Vibhakti dot Vachana, V dot V for Namapada. Pachati, Pach, Parasmai. I mean, who will write? You are not going to write in English, guys. So ignore all this. You write this with short Sanskrit words. Okay, or just the number notation that I used. So, all right. So we'll move forward. Compound. See, there is an expectation to know samasas. In a stanza where the compound words occur, they are dissolved and their names are given. In the following lessons, more about compounds will be taught. By the end, by the exam time, you are supposed to know. So you have to know to do all these things. Okay? It's believe me, if you know the correct technology, this is not going to be difficult. And I am going to do my best to how I have learned and taken a kind of saramsha, an essence of how to identify. I will try to teach you that best, that much at least. So at least 60, 70, 80% of the time you will get it right. It is more complex to get it 100% right. Okay. So dissolution means vigraha. Vigraha karana. Vigraha vakya is dissolution basically. In the following lessons, more about Krishnarjano, Krishnascha, Arjunascha, Krishnarjano, Dvandva compound. See, here itself so much is embedded. Shchutva is embedded. Shakara in case place of Chutva of Visarga. Visargasya saha tadanantaram Shchutvam. Two acts are in play there. Okay. Indeclinable. Avyayam. Indeclinables are indicated as ind. Okay, you can put avyayam. Don't bother with English. The indeclinable ending in the affix ktwa is indicated as indeclinable affix. I mean, don't bother. Right? Tvanta avyayam, like that. Tvanta avyayam or tvantam avyayam in 2 words. Okay. Cha indeclinable. I mean, cha avyayam is better. Pranamya avyayam lyabantam, like that is better. Okay. Affix has no particular usefulness. Lyabantam is more useful. In the stanza cited for Anvaya Krama, word analysis as follows. So this is, they have done this, but I have the better Sanskritized version of that here. Okay, what I have is more or less this. They have even gone a little beyond. Mumocha, I have put much, they have put technical muchilr, which only Paninian experts will know this. This is with the itaksharas, the so-called technical letters added. So this is going to become more confusing for you. Okay. Yeah, if you know much, write that much. If you half think it is much, write it. Don't worry that it is accurate, inaccurate, all that thing. Okay, next lesson onwards, abbreviations are used for the above explanatory notes. They are going to use this English. I think the Kannada guys will enjoy a better text with Kannada script, which is closer to Samskrita. But I would learn to do this in Samskrita. That's it. Most important. Okay, with that, here they have actually listed the Samastapadas nicely. Okay, of course, they have not yet taught you. In the following lessons, you will learn the definitions of different types of samasa and with their examples. So here, for example, look at this Jaya Pratigrahita. So that's what. So Gandham cha Malyam cha Gandhamalye Dvandva Samasaha. Jayaya Pratigrahite Gandhamalye Yayasa. Okay, one who has been adorned with the Gandhamalya of the wife of the king, whosoever, she, her is tam bahuvrihi. Okay, that's what they have done here. Okay, all right. So we'll close out. I'm sorry, I've taken very long extra hours, more than 20 minutes extra. We will gather at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and continue our learning. Unfortunately, first lesson always goes very slow, but because we want to go in great detail, it is also a heavier lesson in the book. So see you guys in the afternoon at 3 o'clock. Thank you very much.
Dhanyavada.
Dhanyavada.
Namaste.